Okay, it's 5 minutes already, so I think we should start.
Yes.
We'll join later, no problem.
All right. So yeah, we've read the documents, the older one from the, I think, New Year, which has more architectural things, and the newer one, the contest document. And yeah, the first question is concerning the ACTA 4. Is there maybe an example of such a document or a proposed form for this document to yeah, to sort of understand how it looks like and what it should contain?
Yeah, I see. Okay, so regarding this document, of course there are examples. There's a link to original discussion of the situation in Guatemala. You can, I think you can see it. There's no direct link in contest itself to ACTA 4, but if you go to first phase contest, then you can see links there. There are pictures of ACTA 4.
Can you maybe give a link to the Zoom chat? Or
yeah, I'm opening it right now. So
okay.
So in first contest for specification, there you can find this link. So I'm opening it. We'll put it.
Yeah.
So, any more questions, guys?
Yeah, sure. It said that validators and collators have to stake some tokens when their respective phases start, or well, when they actually work, when they upload documents with from the voting, or when they validate documents respectively. So the question is, where do they get those tokens in the first place?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, the whole idea is that you need to protect the system from spamming and from attacking of an interested person. Because if you have, if you can register participants for free, then you can automate the process, and you can flood the system with millions of fake accounts, bot accounts, and then the results will be useless. So that's why there is some thresholds or some fee for using it. And of course, that fee should have some value. In that respect, it could be tons. There's nothing about amount, what amount of tons you need to do this stake. This will depend on particular, this actually will be a decision of niche group. But the idea is the following. So how they will get tokens, they probably, I mean, we expect that token ownership will spread. And in any case, the only way you can have value inside the chain, you should get by, or I don't know, granted by some tokens from somebody else. There's no other way. There are already some wrapped tokens in Ton, Bitcoin, Ether, stable coins. There probably will be programmatic stable coins developed directly on Friton. So there will be tokens which can be used for such stakes. What kind of tokens to use? Again, it's decision of initiative group. Amount as well. So
decision of which group? I'm sorry.
The group which initiates actually this audit.
Oh, you mean? So I just want to understand the economy of the process. Is it defined by the exact implementation? So like team 1 makes an implementation with tons instead of tokens. Team 2, or yeah, team 2 makes an implementation with tokens designed specifically for this system. Team 3 makes a hybrid approach with both of those tokens or something, because, well, as we see, validators and collators get rewards later, so they can maybe use them, can get rewards in the system tokens later, so they can probably use them. But I mean, it's not defined by something higher than teams making an exact implementation.
Okay, when I talk about initial group, actually the correct term, I just looked at my proposal.
Action team.
Action team, yeah, action team.
Yeah,
So
all right.
decision by acting team. So the acting team can make, again, you as a participant can make it whatever the easiest way for you. I think from my perspective, the easiest way is to stake tons, because tons have value and will have value. We don't know whether some new tokens created by or designed by a participant will have some value, so we are not sure. But technically, you can adopt and you can envisage using any TIP3 token as a stake. That will be a plus for a participant, but it was not. There's no requirement for that. Again, it is a quite complex system by itself. So if you will do it with stones, I think it's fine. Later on, when we will think about test and field run of such a system, then we'll have definitely a discussion with action team, what type of value they would like to log, again, in order to prevent spamming and taking over of a process.
All right. Okay, seems clear. Okay, next question. There's a part in the contest document which says about the pre-audit process. I think, yeah, technically there could be several action teams, so they will be able to decide which group to support depending on its public reputation. So what does this public reputation mean? Is this something like
It's off-chain. Yeah, it's off-chain. Right. Actually, it means that anyone can deploy such a process or deploy a contract of an action team contract, and then it will be up to citizen of a country what team to join, what process to join. All right. There's no need to make any reputation or any reputation management for action teams. By the way, I put a link to the GeoChat, so you can take a look. It's linked to GBA website, but there is a picture of active for.
Yeah, for some reason I don't see the picture. It doesn't get loaded.
Yeah, it's second picture, so you skip the first one. I don't know either why it's not loaded.
I see. All right, so this is the original Active4 document that will be used in the actual elections, and this is the document, photocopies of which will be uploaded by the collators and validated by the validators. So basically the numbers that we're most interested in are the document number, I guess, the voting center number, which is, I guess, the Mesa Numera, right?
Yeah.
I guess Mesa stands for house. So
yes. I'm just saying that if you have some specific questions regarding such type of details, for sure we can ask to join Carlos, who is representing the team which initially tried to do this audit using Bitcoin actual network. So yeah, for such type of questions, we can park them and invite Carlos to answer. And by the way, in that link which I provided, there is another link to the article in Spanish language where you have description of that experiment they did a year and a half ago.
Okay. Yeah, I unfortunately I don't know Spanish, but I think we'll
Google
manage.
Translate.
Yeah, I know, maybe.
Like-
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you whatever there is you can tell us about the, like, what we're most interested in this Acta4 document regarding the details that will go into actual smart contracts or forms or well, yeah, if there's anything we need to know while we're still here at this, well, looking at it, maybe there is something. If not, then we'll read it thoroughly and maybe ask some more questions to Carlos and you. Okay.
Yeah, let me give my thought for that. Uploading picture of Acta4, from my perspective, is not enough in order to prove that this is actual Acta4, because an attacker can make such a document and load 2-3 different versions, and which will lead validators to confusion. The idea is that when there are some people on the ground, some witnesses, probably some officials, election officials, they can make other photos as well. They can photo themselves. They can photo themselves together with Acta4, make picture of location. So the number of materials or pictures which collator put in front of validators should be not only Acta4, but some other photos as well. And this is like an evidence. But of course, I mean, blockchain will not be able to process photos. There should, in parallel with that evidence, there should be form, structured form with numbers, like for election participants, like voting location number, and whatever important information is required. Since participants in contest doing technical solutions, they're not implementing it for any specific elections, then that's why it was written broadly. Like there should be a list of election participants and then some other fields again, and what those fields should be, what names for those fields, format of data there. This can be decided by action team.
So effectively, action team regulates what happens in each of these cycles, I guess. So when they start everything, they can change the rules to fit better.
Not at cycle, because cycles are actually for getting more people involved. Cycles are required, like for example, you did first cycle and you see that only 10% of voting centers were covered by community. So then you say, guys, let's do it more actively. Specific form of a document, of summary document, should be designed before audit start. So when action team decides to start that audit, they should agree on list of fields which should be in that Acta4.
All right. Yeah, I actually meant the every D audit. That I didn't mean the cycle. I meant that D audit every. I guess.
Every audit, exactly. That's correct.
Yeah, what I meant was every instance of D audit or every other D audit can be changed by action team to be more, well, convenient or more fitting to whatever they're trying to audit, right? So
yeah, right. That's why there's the audit initialization paragraph.
Okay.
Which describes what should happen.
All right. Okay, so there's Yeah, another question is in D-audit initialization, there is a part with which says that yeah, Dmitry, if you can help me out here, is this the one about the audit smart contracts are deployed in multiple instances, number of times equal to in the power of number of bits in I equals then. This is required for the sharding part as C registration process. Is this the one? Is this the exact part that this question relates to?
Yes, the question is about which optimization is necessary to support sharding.
Yeah.
Because in the description it's very unbroad. Could you please elaborate how that should be done in implementation?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the idea is that we should randomly attach validators to different voting centers. So the one way of doing it, if all validators will come to one smart contract, and but this can result in a significant load on that contract, and that contract can stall for a long period of time. So that's why there is an idea of sharding that process. Let me take a look. Okay. So yeah, actually, it was I wrote it quite some time ago. Let me open it in PDF format. Yes. So
You want? I can give you a number of page. It's page 8 of the contest document.
yes.
Top
In
of page.
PDF. Yeah. Okay, page 8. Okay, so yeah, it's the validation phase. No, it's.
It's no, it's actually the D-audit initialization.
Again, the initialization. Okay. Okay, so action team had its contract, so they can vote to start the audit. So then the number of contracts is deployed, and actually, yeah. Okay, so you see, yeah, the question. Okay. Yeah. I'm just remembering what. Yeah, L. So you see that the reference to L in list above. Okay. I really, it was quite some time ago. literally forgot how what sharding, how sharding, how to shard, how I propose to shard it. Yeah.
It's all right. Take your time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember. Yeah. So. Okay. You can decide, or active action team can decide for how many parts you divide all participants. So each participant, when deploy smart contract, their first bits of its address, of his or her address. So then those bits can randomly those first number of bits can be some number which for any participant will be random number. If you select 2 bits, then you can have 4 different variants. So that's the way how participants randomly can be addressed to different smart contracts. So the idea is that when participants register, we don't want to have one smart contract where they're registered. We would like them to so each participant will be able then to register inside his or her own smart contract. So you can say, like, let's use 10 bits, then we will have 1024 smart contracts deployed for registration of those participants. That's actually the idea. When you have like millions of people, then we won't have millions of messages coming to one smart contract. We'll have like once we'll deploy 1,000 of desks, then we'll have for each desk we'll have only 1,000 messages for 1 million of participants. That's the idea behind that approach.
So to distribute the number of people using one smart contract, we have to deploy them in different work chains.
No, it's not about work chains. No. First of all, work chain is absolutely different story. We have now one work chain. Inside work chain, there are shard chains, but shard chains, they're virtual in that respect, so they are not. So you cannot. How to say? It doesn't matter actually what shard chain is used by smart contract, because they all can communicate between each other. They will, but by design, if there will be significant load, then blockchain automatically will launch new shards, and those smart contracts will be distributed between shards. But this should be done on a lower level, so you do not have to think about it. You only need to make a system which can be sharded, because if there is one smart contract, then it will be in one shard. If there are 1,000 smart contracts, then they can be distributed between different shards automatically. You don't have to think about it.
Pavel, can I ask in this regard the question? Because I think that one voting center won't get many messages and much load. So why do we ever need sharding here? Because we are not going to count the votes by citizens, but we are going to process collators and validators messages, and those messages are not so much.
Yeah, let me explain. Technically, you can distribute participants using the same mechanics between voting centers. But the problem is that then you can there could be an attack when somebody will actually, there was an idea in the beginning like that. You can have the same mechanics and use some first bits of an address of a participant and to locate them to voting centers. Technically, it will be random. The problem is that you can mine addresses, and you can say, I know that those voting centers, I have more votes for an opposite candidate, so I will use my team of attackers to address direct specific voting centers. And then I will do mining of addresses, and I will calculate addresses which will be connected to specific voting centers. And I will have all my group of attackers become validators of specific voting centers. That's why there should be an intermediary layer. So you register in smart contracts, and then there is a specific number published, random number by action team, which is used to calculate how each participant or each potential validator relates to voting center. Do you see my point?
Yes, thank you. Very good idea. Okay, I got it.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Okay, another question. What is there an example of proposed storage solution for, or decentralized storage solution for storage of uploaded pictures of Act 4?
Yeah, great question. At some point, there will be another workchain in Triton, which will act as a storage. There is a plan. It should be this year, but at the moment we don't have it. So that's why we didn't put any limitations on what type of storage you can use. I think the obvious one is IPFS, but you can choose whatever other decentralized storage you would like to use. There are no limitations for that.
All right. Yeah. There's there was something about implementation changes that teams can make to I guess to make the system better. What is the example, or what is the what are the possible changes?
Yeah, I understand the question. So that's your question regarding the usage of desks is exactly that question. So you can think, well, I don't need this layer because I can make it simpler and achieve the same goal. I explained why desks are appeared. This is security protection. So in that respect, you cannot avoid. But probably you can think about something else. Probably you can think about how you can randomize and how you can prohibit mining. I actually didn't thought that way, but probably there are ways how to do it. Actually, yeah. Actually, it could be a way because you can publish a number after registration. But again, you can think how to simplify the system. You can think about removing some layer or introducing some other idea how to achieve exactly the same goal without some complexity. So removing desks probably could be a good solution, but you need to think how you'll protect it from mining addresses.
Okay. I think that's all. Maybe I had a question about the collation phase. Maybe just yeah. I just wanted a rundown of how the collator uploads the document, but I think I got it now. So
yeah, you can use whatever decentralized storage you would like. The only requirement is that you should fill, as a collator, you should fill the form which with data, because this data will be used for automatically calculated the results.
All right.
Okay, I just want to a little question more regarding the demo tokens which are present in the contest description. When and by which party they will be minted per each action of collaborators and validators? Is it an action team and they are minted by and initially created by action team?
But you don't need to create them by some team. It should be implied in the process. So once the audit finished, then all not slashed collaborators and validators should get their tokens according to some parameters which action team can decide, like how many tokens will provide for validator, how many tokens will provide for collaborator, and from my perspective, it should be equal. There are some multiplying factors when there are like some for additional 10% of collaborators putting actor for review. All collaborators get more tokens, because then again, when you check like 60% of documents, it's not that powerful when you check like 90% or even 100% of tokens. So then this additional 10% creates value for everyone. The same story for validators. So there are modifications for amount of multipliers for tokens which validators and collaborators get. But apart of that, it should be pretty much automated.
Okay. So the tokens are not created by, but minted by action team entity. Which entity creates that tokens?
But you know, why you need any entity to create any token? I mean, you can have a token contract which gets request for issuing tokens from. In reality, from practical point of view, since we talk about a significant number of people and significant number of contracts, it should not be done in a way, again, from my perspective, when some contract sends tokens to people. It should be done in a way that you can claim. When you as a validator, you passed the audit process, you have you were not slashed, so you have proof inside your contract that you did some work and you was not slashed. Then you can use it to claim tokens from democracy token smart contract. So you send message there, then that smart contract see that proof, and then add you as an owner for some number of tokens. That's actually how I see it. And at the end of the audit, that smart contract actually, yeah, what I've said, what I just said again means a central point where you claim tokens, but that's actually the way you also think how to issue them. So there is no description how you issue tokens, but it should be automated. It should not be that some action team mint them, because when you have a smart contract which based on some specific messages generates tokens or change ownership of some amount of tokens, then this is an automated way of distribution. it shouldn't be in a way that some action team then sends them as like as a bank or according to some ledger, because first of all it's not decentralized, and second it's not technically good when you have one contract doing it all. So my view that you should try to do it in the same distributed or atomic smart contract architecture. So like you so you can deploy a contract TIP3 token. You can deploy with zero balance by yourself. You don't need anything from anything for that. There will be again a question how you will get some balance on it. That's actually you can think by yourself. But if there are problems, I will try to draft a scheme for that.
Okay, so to summarize, am I right that the transfers of democracy tokens should be fully automated and not be controlled manually by action team, right?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. And one question regarding the procedure of validating the ballot results. Imagine if one collator uploads one Acta4 document or some evidences along it, and there are some numbers in it which will be validated by validators successfully, and after that another collator uploads different copy of Acta4 which have different some different numbers, but the validators, as they previously did, they also write the digital numbers from Acta4 copy into blockchain and validate it, and they did their job successfully and fair. But the initial Acta4 copies are different. What should the whole system do in this case?
You're talking about cycles, yes?
I'm talking about fake Acta4, in fact, or bad collators which make some fake Acta4 document.
Yeah. Again, according to the scheme, validator can vote only for one collated Acta4. Validator cannot select number of Acta4. So validator can select only one. Otherwise, you can have two, and then what you can do with that? That's exactly the question.
So am I right that after the voting, after the validation of one Acta4 for one voting center, after the validation of results of one voting center, there is no way to submit by any collateral another Acta4 document? Am I right?
That's a good question, actually. I think that's up to participants to decide. For example, if there was collation and it is, but let's imagine that like only 5% of validators voted for it. Then probably on the next round, you should allow them to change their mind, or you can think that on new cycle, if new collator provided a new Acta4, then all previous results should be nullified and validators should vote again. So those mechanics you can think about by yourself. Again, I'm sure that they will be in practice. Once it will be tested in practice, then for sure we'll see how it works. Probably you can say that if like 50 plus validators voted for it, then you don't need to any change, and collation for that voting center is closed. That's one approach. Another approach, you can add, in each cycle you can add more Ect4 and allow collation and allow validation with ignoring previous votes. Or you can say those votes stay, but I will allow those validators to change their mind. But if they didn't change, then they stay, and all new validators will add their votes for whatever Ect4 they like. So 3 different approaches. That's how I see. And again, this is for me, it is decision of participant, and participant can make a reasoning for that. Participants can say, well, I think that from practical point of view, this is the best approach.
Okay, I've got it. Yes, there are many ways to hack some voting systems. So in practice, I believe there will be very many different situations which should be analyzed.
We should start. Yeah, we should start from something. We should. This is, I mean, a long, very complex process. Once it will be implemented and tested, then we will see flows, and we'll make some next phase of changes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I think, yeah, I think that's all from me.
Yeah, I wrote down the question about democracy token distribution process, because I think that I didn't realize that it's quite a complex solution should be used for that, in order again to make a distribute. So I will think about it, and we'll add additional suggested specification. Again, you can use whatever you want. I will think, in order to help participants, I will think how it can be done.
Yes, thank you. Bringing the democracy to the world is a very important and complex process.
Sure, sure. But I'm sure that we'll do it. We'll be able to do it.
Start with Guatemala, end with Russia.
Latin America, let's put that way.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining.
Yeah. Thanks for information.
Okay. Goodbye. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.